So we do want to look. I mean, we hope everything's fine with Fort Knox, but we're going to go to Fort Knox and make sure the gold is there. If the gold isn't there, we're going to be very upset.
In 1971, two major events happened that changed America forever. First, President Nixon took the U.S. off the gold standard, and suddenly the dollar wasn't backed by gold anymore, and people started asking questions. That same year, a Washington lawyer named Dr. Peter Beater made an explosive claim. Fort Knox was empty, the gold was gone, replaced with gold-plated flakes. According to Beater, powerful elites had secretly removed the gold, leaving the vault full of counterfeits.
I refer to the Fort Knox gold scandal. The theft of America's gold supply, the biggest theft in all of history. The alleged burglars are none other than the kingpins of America's most powerful family, people whose names would top any social register.
Government's response? Unprecedented. For the first time in history, they opened Fort Knox to outsiders. 120 journalists and a dozen members of Congress were allowed inside, something that had never happened before. But here's what they didn't want you to focus on. They only opened one vault section, one, out of the entire fortress. Visitors saw just a fraction of where the gold should be. It was more of a show and tell than an actual audit. And now, 50 years later, Elon Musk and Donald Trump are asking the same question Dr. Beater did. But this time, the government's response is completely different. Before we dive deeper, let's talk about what Fort Knox actually is. Fort Knox is basically America's piggy bank. Located in Kentucky, it's one of the most secure facilities on the planet. And according to the U.S. Mint, it holds approximately 147.3 million troy ounces of gold. That's roughly 4,580 metric tons, worth hundreds of billions of dollars. That's more than half of America's total gold reserves of 8,133 metric tons. The rest is supposedly in places like the New York Federal Reserve Vault. The phrase, "as safe as Fort Knox," exists for a reason. The place is no joke. So let's connect the dots and see how we got here. 1936, Fort Knox opens as America's gold depository. 1943, President Roosevelt reportedly visits during World War II. 1953, last full comprehensive audit of Fort Knox gold. 1971, U.S. abandons the gold standard under Nixon. Later in 1971, Dr. Peter Beater begins claiming Fort Knox gold is missing. 1974, government forced to open doors due to persistent conspiracy claims. In 1974 all the way to 2017, Fort Knox slams shut again. No public access for decades. 2017, Treasury Secretary Mnuchin visits. First Treasury Secretary inside since 1948. And then after his visit, Mnuchin tweeted that he was glad the gold is safe. Then in February 2025, this year, Trump announces investigation plans. For over 70 years, no complete public audit. Just think about that. The last time every bar was counted was when Eisenhower was president, before the internet, before cell phones, before most of us were born. And then something strange happens. Think about this. Fort Knox has 21-inch thick blast-proof doors weighing 20 tons each. A vault complex that can only be opened by a secret combination split among staff. Multiple security fences surrounding the facility. Armed guards patrolling 24/7. Actual U.S. Army units stationed nearby for protection. Advanced alarm systems throughout the complex. With all this security, why won't they let anyone verify what's inside? The current Treasury Secretary claims we do an audit every year, but these are all internal audits, behind closed doors. No journalists allowed, no independent auditors allowed, no random senators allowed. Not even Kentucky's own Senator Rand Paul can get in to see his state's most famous vault. Senator Mike Lee from Utah has reportedly been denied entry multiple times when he inquired about visiting. Think about that. A U.S. senator can't even get in to see the gold that supposedly belongs to the American people. Over the decades, three main theories have emerged about Fort Knox. Theory number one, the gold is gone, completely gone, sold off secretly to manipulate markets or pay off debts. Theory number two, the gold bars are fake. They're actually tungsten bars coated with a thin layer of gold to fool anyone who might see them. Theory number three, the gold is still there. but there's far less than officially reported. The numbers have been inflated for decades. Now, I'm not saying which one I believe, but what I am saying is this: verification shouldn't be this difficult. Transparency shouldn't be this rare. The Gold Antitrust Action Committee has argued for years that central bankers manipulate the gold market. Could Fort Knox be a part of this scheme? Without proper verification, we just don't know. So in February last month, Donald Trump made an announcement that sent shockwaves through the financial world.
We're going to go into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there. I mean, we hope everything's fine with Fort Knox, but we're going to go to Fort Knox. If the gold is in there, we're going to be very upset.
This wasn't just a passing comment. Trump later doubled down, suggesting he might personally go open the vault doors to see if anyone stole the gold. And then earlier this year, tech billionaire Elon Musk amplified the controversy on X. Musk posed a simple but explosive question: who is confirming that gold wasn't stolen from Fort Knox? Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. When a follower suggested live streaming an inspection of the vault, Musk responded with fire emojis, signaling he was serious about wanting the public to see inside of Fort Knox. And suddenly, after decades of keeping everyone out, the Treasury Department was forced to respond. Current Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent assured the public that all the gold is present and accounted for, and even said any U.S. senator who wanted to inspect the gold could be taken to Fort Knox. But here's the question: if it was that simple all along, why has access been so restricted for decades? Let's go back to that 1974 inspection because it's crucial to understanding today's controversy. The tour was led by Mary Brooks, the U.S. Mint director at the time. It was explicitly organized in response to a conspiracy theory circulated by Peter Beater that the vaults were empty. Reporters watched as one vault was opened and got to see stacks of gold bars glimmering under fluorescent lights. The Treasury declared the gold was present and accounted for. But critics pointed out several problems. One, visitors only saw a small portion of the vault's total holdings. 2, no actual inventory was conducted. 3, no weighing or authentication of the bars took place. And 4, it was more of a publicity stunt than a proper audit. As one report later noted, the 1974 effort was intended to quash rumors, but provided only temporary relief from public skepticism. In fact, Senator Chuck Grassley has revealed that as a freshman congressman in the 1970s, he personally went to Fort Knox to check on the gold. According to Grassley, the gold was there. But again, this was a limited viewing, not a comprehensive audit. Now, you might be wondering why this matters. After all, whether the gold is there or not doesn't directly impact your daily life, right? Wrong. Here's why this matters. First, trust and transparency. If the government is hiding something about our national gold reserves, what else might they be hiding? 2, economic stability. Gold reserves help stabilize our financial system and currency. If those reserves aren't what they claim to be, it could impact economic confidence. And 3, national security. Fort Knox is supposed to be impenetrable. If security can be compromised for gold, what other critical assets might be at risk? And 4, market implications. Gold prices respond to supply and demand. If a significant amount of gold is missing or has been secretly sold, it could impact global markets. But perhaps most importantly, it highlights a crucial principle for all investors: the value of verifiable assets. This Fort Knox situation perfectly illustrates one of the most important principles in investing: verifiability. You see, when you invest in something you can't personally verify, you're taking on additional risk. You're trusting someone else's word that your investment exists and is as described. That's why tangible assets have stood the test of time. Whether it's gold that you physically possess or real estate that you can walk through and touch, tangible assets provide a level of security that paper assets simply can't match. I mean, think about it. If you own physical gold, you don't have to wonder if it exists. If you own real estate, you don't need a government audit to confirm it's there. No, you can just drive by it any time. During times of economic uncertainty, tangible assets typically perform better than paper assets. They're a hedge against inflation and market volatility. They're real. They exist regardless of what happens in the digital world or with government policies. And while gold has historically been the go-to tangible asset, real estate offers some distinct advantages. First, income generation. Unlike gold sits in a vault, real estate can generate monthly income through rents. Second, leverage potential. Banks will lend against real estate, allowing you to control more asset with less capital. 3, improvement capability. You can increase the value of real estate through improvements and development. And 4, tax advantages. Real estate comes with numerous tax benefits that other investments just don't offer. So what's going to happen with Fort Knox? If I had to make a prediction, I'd say we're going to see some form of limited inspection, similar to 1974, that will satisfy some people but leave others still questioning. And while we can't verify what's behind those vault doors, I can show you exactly how to build wealth through tangible assets you can control. That's why I'm doing something crazy. I'm flying 10 serious people out to Vegas. Flight and hotel is on me to show you exactly how my students are pulling in $25,000 plus on their first real estate deals. And you can get all the details at intensive2025.com, but here's the gist. We're giving you everything. LLC setup, access to up to $150,000 in funding at zero interest, and my entire playbook for finding killer deals that nobody else knows about. Plus, you get 3 months of me personally holding your hand through your first deals. But here's the thing, we're super picky about who gets in. So if you've got a 680 or better credit score and you're actually serious about this, you should probably grab one of these 10 spots before they're gone. And I've been asked, and maybe you're wondering the same, Matt, why are you being so picky about who gets in? Well, it's like this. I could fill a stadium with people who want to get rich in real estate, but I'm only interested in working with people who will actually do this stuff. The 680 or better credit score, it just tells me you're responsible. The application process, it just shows me you're serious. And the phone call, well, it lets me make sure that we're a good fit. It's really simple. If you want to join us, go to intensive2025.com. If you like what you see, hey, let's go. If not, that's cool too. Either way though, the truth about what's really in Fort Knox may remain partially hidden behind those massive vault doors. But that doesn't mean your own financial security has to remain a mystery. Smart investors have always understood the power of tangible assets, things you can see, touch, and verify yourself. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks for watching. Take care.